Y'all, Bridget Bartlett here. Today, I am really excited to do this training. I don't know why I haven't done this before, but I'm going to show you the top 3 things that I notice all the time that are causing people to go into the spam folder when they sign up for HighLevel. Okay, so I want to explain these 3 things to you and show you some solutions so that you can solve them and then not freak out when your emails keep going to spam and you cannot figure out why they're going to spam. So I'm going to show you these 3 things today. Now, the first one is one that I totally get is probably a little confusing to understand. Okay, so I want to break this down to you. When you create your HighLevel account, you're going to be logging into app.gohighlevel.com. Okay, you're going to go into your agency settings and you'll go into the settings, and when you do, the top tab up here is actually your profile. Now, this is your profile for your HighLevel account. Okay, so when you're logged in to HighLevel, meaning the URL app.gohighlevel.com, you're going to be using your email address that you signed up with HighLevel. Now, this may be a Gmail email address. This may be a completely different email address. Like I use my main business email when I signed up for HighLevel, and so I have that here. If I wanted to change my email or my password for my HighLevel account, and I keep saying that because in a second I'm going to show you about your branded white label URL, okay? Because it needs to be, you need to actually be working in your branded URL, okay? And I'll explain to you why. But if I did want to change the password or email that I log into app.gohighlevel.com, I want to do that here. Okay. Now, once you create your white label domain, and you're going to do that in the company tab, and I do the setup for all of our members. So if you've already gotten your setup done, I take care of all of this for you. But when you create your HighLevel account, you get your white label domain set up, then you're going to go into your sub account. Okay. Now, this sub account here is actually created I'm actually logged into this sub account with the app.gohighlevel.com. And you'll see when I do that the top tab up here is business info. Okay, so we don't have a profile, and we need to have a profile because there are a lot of user specific settings inside of the profile. For example, Zoom and all kinds of other things, right? So the only way to have a profile here is to log into your branded URL. Okay, so when you do that, you will be logging, for example, mine is app.myvisionagency.com. So I need to create a user, and I can do that here in the team section. I don't want to expose everyone, but you can do that in the team section by creating a user. Now, if your agency is connected to a domain, obviously it is, and my example, my white label domain is app.myvisionagency.com. So when I create my user account, I need that domain to be my email address. So since I'm using myvisionagency.com, I need to create an email address that is with myvisionagency.com. So I chose info@myvisionagency.com. Okay, so now my user is connected to my domain. So everything is going to be within that domain. Okay, that's really the magic of how this step helps you eliminate the spam folder. Now, you'll see here in your agency account also, or actually, before I go into all of that, let me show you here the difference. Okay, so when you are logged in to your branded, let me move this over here, your branded URL, you're going to see here, okay, so now I'm logged into app.myvisionagency.com. I'm logged in here, and you'll see now I have my profile. Okay, so you don't see that here. You only see that when you're logged in to your branded dashboard. Okay, now you'll also see here you have, if you wanted to change your password, you could do that here. You have some other settings as well. You can set your user signature. So when you're in all of your workflows and you want to add your signature, all you need to do is go to user, move over to signature, and then it's going to, that custom value will pre-fill in anything that you have built here. Okay. You're going to have your user specific meeting locations, your available times, and your Zoom account and your calendars and all of these things. That's only available when you create a user within your branded domain. Okay. Now, when you are sending messages, this is really why this is so important. Let me go back here. Let me find my screen I'm looking at. So this is why this is so important. When I'm logged in to the same sub account, okay, and I'm logged in as app.gohighlevel.com, you'll see when I go to send an email here that it actually pre-fills in the email address that I'm logged in as. And that's the consulting@visionmarketinganddesign.com. Now I'm going to send myself a test email here. And I want to show you what this looks like. Okay, so not only am I sending from the wrong email, but I'm going to go ahead and send that. And I'm going to, let's go ahead and refresh here. So I will receive that. Now, lots of times it will end up in the spam folder, but because my system recognizes this email address, it's not so bad. But you can see right away when I open this up, and I see this all the time in the groups, okay? So this is such a small thing, but it makes a huge difference, okay? So obviously, you don't want your emails to appear as phishing, right? But this is why. So it says here, consulting@visionmarketinganddesign.com via office.myvisionagency.com. So it's saying reply to this, and this is obviously where it's going. But then it also says mailed by Gmail. Okay, so we definitely, and then it says signed by office.myvisionagency.com. So this tells the email systems this is fishy because it's being sent from an email that's different. So all of this makes it fishy. Okay, so we definitely do not want that. All right, so the way that we eliminate that is by logging in as your user. Okay, so my user profile that I created, I'm logged into my branded agency domain, so app.myvisionagency.com. I'm using the email address that's attached to my user, that is info@myvisionagency.com. And now what I want to do is I'm going to send to the same email address. I'm just going to send test, send now. I'm going to go back to my emails here, and let's go ahead and refresh. And now I received this email. First of all, it says me there, but it has the name. But here you'll notice that there is no phishing thing, right? And it says right here from Bridget Bartlett, and then it has my email address, and then it says reply to info@, and that's my email sending domain, which I'll talk about in just a second. But then it also says signed as this, and it matches this. Okay, so that's really the important part there. All right. Also, it's just more convenient because obviously, if this is a completely different email or Gmail, you don't want to be sending from that in your business. That's really unprofessional. And like I said, it does come up as phishing and being kind of scammy. Okay. Now, the next reason, this is probably the first reason is probably the number one reason. This is probably the number two reason why people end up in spam. Okay. You need to, when you're creating your HighLevel account, you need to have your email sending domain created. Now, this needs to be, like you can see, this is my agency. So this account is defaulting to my agency email sending domain. And you can see because I'm using the same domain, and you want to, everything needs to be within the same domain. Okay, so I'm using a subdomain of that domain for my agency. Now, if I'm creating this here, okay, I don't want to use the default of my agency. I want to use a different one because I want to control my email delivery. If I'm sending emails from this agency sending domain, I am vulnerable to every other client within this agency and their reputation. If this gets like blocked by, blocked as spam or blacklisted, then now that affects my email delivery. So I need to, and also it's not going to allow me if my domain is, myvisiontraining.com. If that's my domain, then I can't send it to or from an email address with an email sending domain that is myvisionagency.com. It needs to be the exact same domain that my email address is on. Okay. So, what I would want to do is go to create a dedicated domain. I'm going to click add domain. Now, again, if I have done your setup or you're a member of our team, I do all of this part for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's important to know that this is why these things are created. Okay. Now, I do have like a sample email address here. I'm just going to choose this, or not email address, domain. So I'm just going to choose myvisiontraining.com. So let's just pretend that this is my domain that I'm using for my sub account. And, especially my sub account. Okay. So I'm going to create the email sending domain, and I want to use a subdomain because, again, we want to protect the main root domain, and we could create unlimited subdomains. Okay. So if it got burned, the email sending domain, we could just create a new one. Okay. So in this example, I am going to choose like office dot, and then I'm going to add that domain. Okay. So not add a space there. So I can make it anything that I want to. I can make it like lc.myvisiontraining.com. I could make it contact dot. It really doesn't matter what the subdomain is, but it just needs to have your main root domain here. Okay. So I'm going to now click add and verify. And then now what I want to do is I want to take all of these records and I want to copy and paste them into my registrar. Okay, so you can see we have all of the records. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to quickly go through this because it's really quick. But I will tell you that some registrars will not verify this entire record. Cloudflare loves it. Bluehost loves it. Namecheap, GoDaddy, they do not. Google Workspace does not like it either. And when I say does not like it, what they want you to do is remove everything from the period onto your root domain. Okay. So you can see here that what I need to do, if I was using this in Namecheap or GoDaddy, I would just want to paste in this part of the record. Okay. If I am using Cloudflare or Bluehost, I'm going to paste in this whole record. Okay. Now, in this example, I am using Cloudflare. So I'm going to go ahead and add a record. And you can see here, it says the type of record is a TXT. So I'm going to change this to TXT. And I'm going to paste that entire record there. I'm going to go back here, move this over. Okay. I'm going to go back here, and now I need the value. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to go back now and paste this in the value. And I'm going to click save. All right. Now I'm going to go back here to another TXT record, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste this into the record. So let's go to TNT or TXT, and then I'm going to paste the value. Oops, I didn't copy the whole record. I'm so used to the ones that don't. Okay, so let's go back here, copy that, and let's get the value. So I'm going to copy this, go back, and paste and save. Now I'm going to create a CNAME record. So I'm going to copy all of this, go back here. This time I'm going to choose CNAME. So here we go. And we're going to paste this in here. And then I need the value. So the value is Mailgun. And just in case you didn't know, HighLevel uses a you can turn that off as well. HighLevel uses Mailgun. They've kind of white labeled Mailgun, and it's called Lead Connector is the system. So this gives you the ability, and the same with Twilio. They white label Twilio, and it's Lead Connector as well. But the cool thing is that they manage all of the compliance stuff for you. So if you're not an expert in compliance for Twilio and emails and all of that, HighLevel takes care of that for you. So when you sign up for Lead Connector, which is what I'm doing now, it's basically a self-managed system, and it's basically the same prices as well. So I'm creating an MX record here. I paste it in there. Now I'm going to add the value, and you'll see here that it does say a priority on this one. So MX records always have a priority. So we're going to go back here now and then put in 10 and save. So let's go back here now. We have one more MX record. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to go back, add an MX record, paste in the value, and we are going to copy this and come back and priority 10. and we are going to save. All right. So now once we've done that, and of course this is not a live domain in my Cloudflare account. Once I've done that, what I want to do is click verify. Eventually all of these will turn green. It usually doesn't take that long at all. So if it's been more than an hour, you probably did not enter the records correctly. So you want to definitely go back and check that. But eventually all of these will turn green. You'll click verify, and then you'll see the little option. Actually, it'll look like this. You'll probably come back to this and click verify now again, and then you'll see they're all green, and you'll click to verify again, and then the SSL will be active. Okay. So then this would be the email sending domain on this account. Okay. So you want to make sure now, in this situation here, if I've set up my email sending domain on this domain here, I need to make sure that I have an email address that is something like info@myvisiontraining.com, okay? Because it needs to be with this domain, all right? Now, the next step here with the emails is the DMARC, okay? Now, if you guys go to the knowledge base here, and if you're not a member and you want to just register to get access to our free training and tools, you can go to bridgetbartlett.com and register. Once you do register, you'll have access to our knowledge base here. All you need to do is search DMARC, and you'll see that there are some best practices here. This is the actual training that we're doing today, and then of course there's another training here. If you look here, this is actually the I have the video here that we're working on now, but there are step-by-step instructions on how to configure your DMARC. So definitely go through this if you if you don't know anything about DMARC, this will help you. Now, if you're using Cloudflare though, Cloudflare makes this really simple, just like usual. All you need to do is go inside the domain. You're going to go to DMARC management. And when you click enable DMARC, you'll see here that it actually creates the record for you. And then all you have to do is click add. And then now you have that DMARC record in your DNS. Okay. So you can see here now we have DMARC. All right. So the only thing that I would have to do now to set up this account is simply create my email address. And you can create an email address anywhere you want to. You actually can do that as well with Cloudflare. But what this does is it actually creates the email address attached to the domain, and then it will ask you to forward it to something else because it's not an actual webmail. So this is going to wind you up in the spam folder. Okay, so I encourage you use something else like maybe Google Workspace or something like that to create your email address. And then what you're going to have to do is just add the records that they give you, the MX records, to your Cloudflare or whatever registrar you're using. And then that way everything will be within that one domain. Okay, so I definitely have training in the knowledge base about Workspace. And actually, if you go to the knowledge base and you just search Google, you'll see the training series for how to use Google Workspace and get started and all of that stuff. Okay, so you'll definitely find that in here, down here, how to use Google Workspace and all of that. Okay. So thank you guys so much for watching me. I promise if you do these 3 things that I'm telling you, it will make all the difference in the world when it comes to your emails actually landing in the inbox. And then once that setup is done, just follow good email practices. Okay. And of course, there's tons of training and all of that. But this setup will definitely make a huge difference in your email delivery. Okay. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open